Hello everyone! Welcome once again to the presentation of Pixel Nape games. It's been a long time since our last presentation, but we've organized and prepared better content for everyone. Before we begin, Napoleon Malpica, our CEO, has an important announcement for all of you.
Hola a todos. Primero que nada, quiero daros las gracias por el apoyo durante los últimos años. Estamos entrando en una nueva etapa en Nape Games, en la cual vamos a abarcar todo lo que es el publishing del formato físico para consolas retro y digital para consolas de última generación. Espero que les guste todas estas nuevas alianzas que tendremos y que disfruten las próximas aventuras dentro del universo de Nape Games. Muchas gracias, así que espero que disfruten todo lo que tenemos que mostraros a continuación.
Rechnum Fantasy of Dreams is an action, exploration, and 2D platformer video game. It is the latest installment in the Rechnum Saga, in which Cherry awakens from a fantasy to start the real adventure. Explore the thematic levels, unlock new weapons, upgrade your skills, fight fearsome bosses inspired by classic gameplay, and decipher the poetic words of the ancestors when you travel through the dream world to reach the real final outcome. Explore the thematic levels and their different routes. Unlock new weapons and upgrade your skills. Fight fearsome bosses inspired by classic gameplay. The map is drawn as you advance, but it does not end there. If you interact with certain items, it will be updated. It will also show you the places of importance, such as the closed doors or the total keys that you can own, and many more things. The main fusions can be found in the game's dungeons. With them, you can change the shape of the magic sword in order to face new dangers or puzzles. All the music is instrumental, directed by Filippo Visarelli, mixing Celtic sounds using instruments such as hurdy-gurdy with power metal and many other styles. New parry combo system. Adjust your timing to perform a perfect parry and unleash devastating combos on your enemies. Travel through the dream world and reach the real final outcome. This and much more awaits in the new Rechnum Fantasy of Dreams, coming this year to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One and Xbox Series XS.
Hola, muy buenas. Soy José Naire, Social Media PR en Tesura Games. Bienvenidos al Pixel Nape Games Showcase. Desde Tesuras solamente queremos agradecer a Nape su apoyo, su gran esfuerzo en conservar el género retro y en el mejor formato, que es el físico. Como ya sabéis, hemos colaborado juntos en traer a la vida a Rechnum Origins Collection, que ya podéis encontrar en edición normal y en edición coleccionista, y confirmar Rechnum Fantasy of Dreams, que llegará próximamente con muchos más detalles. También decir que quién sabe qué deparará el Napeverso. Y nada más, desde aquí un saludo enorme para nuestros tesoritos y que sigáis disfrutando del showcase.
We can also confirm that Rechnum Fantasy of Dreams will have standard and limited editions with Tesura games. It will be available for Nintendo Switch, PS4, and PS5. We can anticipate that the limited edition will have some very interesting incentives, and one of them is a documentary film about the making of the game. As a sample, we have left a preview from Filippo Viscarelli, our musical composer for the project. We hope you enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Filippo Viscarelli, the video game music composer who's in charge of the Rechnum Fantasy of Dreams soundtrack. The music of this game has been strongly influenced by classic and modern RPGs and adventure games such as Zelda, Dragon Quest, Chrono Cross, Ys, Xenoblade, and the list goes on. The soundtrack for this episode of the Rechnum Saga features a big variety of musical genres, which are based on the actual diversity of the game regions. So you will hear a lot of medieval and Celtic influences in it, highly requested by the team, by the way. You will hear small symphonic compositions, but also more fantasy-style music featuring synthesizers and rock guitars and all that kind of fancy stuff. On the technical side, this soundtrack has been completely produced here in my home studio, where I took care of all the production steps, from the music writing and arrangement to the final mix, including occasional live recordings of instruments such as acoustic and electric guitars, and of course my personal collection of old Rompler synthesizers that I like to use in my game music so much, since they were actually used quite a lot in popular games from the 90s. Then an external studio took care of the mastering of the whole soundtrack with world-class equipment. Speaking of the challenges in making this soundtrack, among the most tough ones has been finding a consistent and coherent sound of the whole game, given all the different music styles required by the different areas in the game. A lot of the compositions have also been changed or developed further after their completion, because of game areas not being finished or completely missing at the time I had to write music for them. In the end, me and the team had to think smart and find the best compromises due to the budget and the pressing deadlines. Nonetheless, I tried my best to put as much emotion and effort in the music as I would, and I hope the people will enjoy it and love it as much as I do.
We are currently in the shipping phase for all Rechnum Souls Adventure pre-orders for the NES and Dreamcast, as well as for the Ploid 5th Anniversary Editions for the NES and Dreamcast. Did you miss the launch of the games? Don't worry. Soon, our official international partners will announce a new limited edition of the games. We will be giving more details about it later, so stay tuned. Indie Heroes Collection 2 for the Evercade. It's official! Our beloved Rechnum Souls Adventure will be in the Indie Heroes Collection 2 for Evercade, Evercade VS, and the new Evercade EXP. Blaze ENT will be available later in the year. They've brought together several powerful indies to join forces in this new collection, loaded with a lot of retro nostalgia. But that's not all. You can try Rechnum Souls Adventure during the month of June in Evercade VS as the featured game of the month. You just have to connect your console to the internet and update it. You managed to escape from Dr. Festadon's laboratory and the horrid experiments he planned for you. You managed to break his chains, but there's still a long way to go until you can obtain freedom. Escape the traps, inventions, and enemies the Doctor has put in your path. Complete 25 stages, each one longer and more difficult than the previous. In Chainbreak, your goal is to complete each stage, where you will be running non-stop, dodging all challenges in a game where you will need sharp reflexes and nerves of steel. For a total of 5 worlds, new creatures and traps with increasing difficulty awaits you. An action-packed side-scroller. It won't be easy, but nothing of worth is. Chainbreak is coming soon to the Game Boy console in physical format. Pre-order will be announced soon. 1985 World Cup. In 1985 World Cup, you will play in a pure retro style inspired by the classics, charismatic characters, and new game possibilities. Yes, for the first time in history, a video game for the mythical Sega Genesis Mega Drive in physical format will have the ability of being played online. But how is this possible? It's all thanks to a Wi-Fi microchip that the cartridge will have. Are you ready to fight and be the best in the world? We will give more details about it soon, but we expect that the only pre-order will be available soon in very limited quantities. So, if you do not want to miss out on this jewel, do not forget to follow us on social media to be notified about the pre-order date.
Hola, soy Manu Segura de Tachido Games. Os hemos traído Chain Break. También he estado a cargo de los gráficos en 1985 World Cup. Solamente queríamos daros las gracias por vuestro apoyo y por vuestro interés en los títulos. Sin más, muchas gracias por estar ahí y espero que disfrutéis de los títulos, de estas pequeñas sorpresas y de otras que están por venir. Adiós.
En el juego encarnaremos el papel del simpático Magus, coleccionista retro, el cual sufre la peor pesadilla de cualquier gamer. Su esposa necesita más espacio en casa y lo consigue tirando todos sus juegos y equipos. Es un divertido arcade pantalla en pantalla donde nuestro objetivo será recoger todos los juegos dispersos por el nivel y llevarlo de vuelta al ordenador. En cada pantalla nos encontraremos con elementos como vidas extras, cerezas que nos darán puntos extra y consolas portátiles las cuales nos dividirán el tiempo a la mitad, pero que serán imprescindibles para conseguir el happy end. En esta versión contaremos con 60 niveles repartidos en 10 mundos, posibilidad de 2 jugadores a la vez, 5 vidas y 3 continuos en total. Disponemos de 60 segundos para completar cada nivel y conseguiremos puntos extras en función del tiempo que nos sobre al acabarlo. También hay una fase de bonus al final de cada mundo en la cual tendremos que recoger los objetos que nos lanza Nuestra Señora. Mucho cuidado con los yunques. Los enemigos tienen también diferentes comportamientos y solo contaremos con la ayuda de nuestro salto para evitarlos. Y recuerda, Super Mouse Manía ahora también en Nintendo Switch.
What you have just seen are the Mavis and Super Mavis Mania games for the Spectrum and last generation consoles. What would happen if after years of searching and collecting, your wife decides to throw all of your video games in the trash? Well, in this installment of the Mavis Saga, we will enter the retro levels full of enemies inspired by classic retro gameplay, where you can try to recover your games, open new doors, fight against your wife not to lose your collection again, or compete against her to collect more games in this classic adventure that lives up to the games of the time. Soon we will give more details about it with release dates and pre-orders, but it will be available this year. Super Camber Saga. We know that we've previously announced Super Camber and the Sacred Orbs, a classic RPG, and Super Camber Skill Masters, a beat-em-up with all the power and action that will have you hooked for hours. Furthermore, the games continue to develop and are going at a good pace. Soon we will give more details, but we can also announce that right now you can enter the Super Camber universe. You can now read the comic available on our website in full color, which will be updated periodically. Finally, we have Gemma Boy Zero Origins, the climax of the Ploid saga, and the Skill Masters come together to give a new direction in this new phase of Nape games. You can finally see the final step in the evolution of Ploids, but that doesn't mean we're out of the woods just yet. In order to make that leap in evolution, we must go deep into our servers, use the Holy Discs, and assume the power of the Skill Master. Are you ready for this new adventure? We will give more details about it soon, along with release dates, but it's more near than expected. Thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you have enjoyed everything that we have shown you. Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated with new release dates. See you in future presentations. Bye-bye.